All right, my friends, welcome to episode 360. We are an entire circle of Prof and Dev play games. My name is Larry, the professor. Yep, blank. And over there is Anthony, the dev.
I'm now at SummerSpeak on Tumblr.
Yes! I need to figure that out. I set up a Mastodon account. I was like, I don't even know how this works. I need to find something simpler. So I'll look into Tumblr.
Mastodon is super fucking annoying. I'll give you that.
Boy, trying to figure out like what server I'm on. Is that like a World of Warcraft thing where I can't play with my friends on the other server? What's happening here?
Yeah, the server split thing is the thing that gets me on that. Where I'm like, is this just like a complicated Discord?
Yeah,
I think it just feels like a complicated Discord.
It really does.
That wants to have like, but it wants to like, what does it take? Like, what if Discord, but the servers you on could feed into like a central feed you could look at, which sounds terrifying to me. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at, and that's so weird.
Well, I will hit up Tumblr then.
Yeah, Tumblr seems ridiculous right now. I'll give it that.
Hey, I hear that you can have lots of check marks.
You can have lots of check marks, that's for sure. I don't even know how much they charge, but it's the ultimate troll. If one check mark on Twitter means verified, what does 12 on Tumblr mean?
Means tasteful nudes are in your future.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Speaking of tasteful nudes, we're here to talk about the games we've been playing this week.
We are.
I saw Kratos' nipples, so there's that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've been playing God of War, Ragnarok, and Anthony has been playing Tactics Ogre.
Not Ogre Tactics.
Okay, good. I was like, did I
Different
get it in the right order?
Although I'm still an odd name when I've really thought about it. I'm like, why is this series called Tactics Ogre? Or, man, what was it? Battle Ogre?
Yeah, right. And
like it's a long running series. So I've looked at it. I'm like, Japan, you have some weird choices in names sometimes. I'll give you that.
they had like an N64 Ogre game. I thought like
They did.
Ogre 64 or something. Or
Yeah, it was Ogre 64. I'm pretty sure that was one of them. And that's the interesting thing with it is they're not always they're not tactics, grid-based tactics in the way like Tactics Ogre is very big map, move units around a big grid. Like Ogre 64 was, you had like a grid, you and the enemy you're fighting were on a 3x3 grids. So positioning mattered, but it was still very like old school turn-based JRPG combat. It's just your position on your little 3x3 grid mattered.
Yeah.
On how you were attacking the enemies and how they were attacking you and doing things, but it wasn't move yourself around on a map sort of thing. So they're all somewhat different. Playing Tactics Ogre, I mean, it even opens with its episode 7 of the Ogre battle or whatnot.
Because that many games had come before.
Maybe? I don't know. This game originally came out on the Super Famicom back in 95. So
I always thought it was like a PSP game. Huh.
Well,
it must
the
have got
PSP
remade.
game was the first remake of this game.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which was called Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together.
Yes, right.
Which was the PSP version of this game. And now we have Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a remake of the remake, basically.
Oh, so it's like Last of Us. Perfect.
Exactly.
But
except
more
they
necessary,
just waited
right?
many years between doing this.
Exactly.
And waited for the fact that you just can't get PSPs at all anymore.
Right. They waited the requisite amount of time. Like, it makes sense to have a remake of a remake now.
And when you fire it up, you get the company splash screens like Square Enix, and then it goes to Algebra Factory, which is, I was happy to see, which is Matsuno, the guy who originally was the director, designer of this game. His company, his contracting company, design company.
Did he do Final Fantasy Tactics too?
He did.
Okay.
And Final Fantasy 12 and Vagrant Story.
Algebra Factory is a great name.
Yeah, it's really good. And that's he after he left Square, he kind of made this company and he consults basically. Or how should I put that? Japan is a little bit different with the way that they handle people and projects. I mean, you see it with Sora on Smash.
Yeah.
Like how that company manages and makes Smash, but it's only what, 2 of them? Kind of. Is that how big Sora is?
It's him and his wife, I think. It's
yeah, right. It's 2 people, and they contract to Nintendo to do Smash, but actually like run making the entire Smash game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what Matsuno does with Algebra Factory. After he left Square, back in 2010s, early 2010s, maybe a little earlier than that. A little bit earlier than that, I think. But still. But he's there, and he came back and helped with this remake. So all the changes, which I've never played the earlier versions, so I don't know what the changes are. I've only heard about them after watching videos and being like, oh, that's different. But it was all kind of overseen by him overall as like consulting for the whole thing. And so there's a certain level of polish that comes along with that and just like consistency, which is nice. And then the Baz Escape is the second name on the splash screen that comes up. And that's the composer's company. Hitoshi Sakamoto, who did Final Fantasy Tactics music, did the original Tactics Ogre music. Vagrant Story, did stuff for Final Fantasy 12. Like there are like 3 people, or probably more than that, but 3 notable people that kind of went from Tactics Ogre, which was an Enix property, when Square merged with Enix, became Square Enix employees, and then they started doing Final Fantasy stuff. So they were all involved, and he's like recomposed all the music, like with actual orchestration.
Was it chiptune stuff before, or? Yeah. Okay.
So presentation-wise, it's very nice. I wouldn't say I'm like hugely far into it. I've probably put 3 or 4 hours over the week. And that's where I've been learning what's changed, and the fact that it doesn't really want you to grind overall.
Oh, that's awesome.
They put limit. So things that they've changed. In the original version and the PSP version, to grind when you want to just have a battle, like Final Fantasy Tactics did, you have to move back and forth between locations, hoping a random battle will happen. It's like you choose a city and your character moves through a couple points to get to that city, like it's just on a map, and you hope that it would trigger a random battle. That's just gone now. There's no random battles. So if you don't want them, they're not there. If you just want to have a battle, you go to town and say, I want to train, and it just gives you a battle.
And you can grind up that way if you want to?
Yep. But the change is there is a party level cap, which that increases as you play the story. Like mine is currently level 8.
Oh, okay.
I can never go above level 8. But if you have experience, if like a bunch of people, you earn a bunch of extra experience from a mission, and it puts you, and you hit that cap, and no one can earn a bunch of extra experience, they give you experience charms so you can spend experience on characters later. So if you get
like new characters
that come in, you can just dump experience into them to level them up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's a lot of quality of life stuff there. But there's no real like point in heavy grinding because you get capped. Like you're just like, all right, I just need to move through the mission and the stories, and I would say I'm like 5-6 missions in storyline wise, and I finally started getting hard.
Oh, it was
the
easy.
Last one I did. Yeah, the first few are pretty easy.
Okay.
Like, okay, I understand this. If you know tactics games, you're like, cool. I don't think I'm gonna lose this. But this last one I did, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna win this. Like, there's a lot of stuff I need to consider now. So, but I did. But still, I was like, okay, this game is going to get rough, I think, challenge-wise. And I've heard that it does from friends and colleagues who played the game on PSP. They said it can be a really challenging game at times. But yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's all voice acted. The voice acting is great. So that was one new thing they added here. So pretty much everything is voice acted.
Any notable voice actors or?
Honestly, not that I know. The one that I knew, well, that's not true. Darren DePaul's in it, who's friends with Critical Role people. None of the Crit Role people are in it directly, but some people that I know through Crit Role who've been in one-shots and stuff are in the game. And then Gideon Emery is in it, who's Balthier in Final Fantasy 12.
Oh.
And is in Destiny. Like,
yeah,
I know
that name I know. Yeah.
I hear his voice and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Emery. Also, he does a bunch of live action acting as well. He's in a bunch of TV shows and movies and everything. So I haven't come across him in the game yet. I just saw his name in the billing. So eventually I'll hit a character that sounds like him and I'll be like, yep. Other than that, I haven't noticed anyone, but the voice acting is all very good. The translation is great.
Even that first, I don't know what the fuck it was.
The title?
Yeah, the sentence thing, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was so well written for like 12 words.
Yeah. And this is kind of known. I don't know if it's a retranslation or what it was originally. But was that? It's like, there's blood on my hands. How long until it rests on my heart? Very evocative.
Yes.
I'd love to know what the original Japanese characters are for that. Because I'm sure it was only like 6 Japanese characters.
I was gonna say it would be funny if it was like one kanji, like just.
Yeah, it was just like just a few kanji. You're just like, oh, this is what we have to translate this like ethereal feeling into English that has no direct translation. But it's very evocative.
Yeah.
And the writing has that slight high English to it. Old English, I should say.
I know what you meant.
In a way, they're trying to like, it's not like Shakespearean, but they're definitely not speaking in just like modern tones and dialects or anything. It's like, it's really trying to kind of set it in that medieval fantasy. So I'm a huge fan. It's not a fast game. I mean, but if you like tactics games, it's a really good tactics game so far. There's jobs and classes. Like, I play it now and I'm like, yeah, of course this is what after this game they made Final Fantasy Tactics.
Right.
Like, Final Fantasy Tactics is just an evolution of the game I'm playing right now. Hands down. Like,
I remember watching you and Travis play
concepts.
Final Fantasy Tactics and thinking about how slow it was. Oh man, but that's the kind of the point, right? You're supposed to like really think things through and really dig into the story. So.
Dig into the story and the tactics of it. And I mean, this is clearly is already set up as like a very political game. There's like politics galore. I have had a number of factions thrown at me, and I'm like, cool. I won't remember that. Hopefully you'll bring it back up when it's important. But a lot of world setting there. I've seen people describe that Triangle Strategy really was inspired like from Tactics Ogre more than anything.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's just from a standpoint of like how they're setting their story and the rival factions and the whole thing. Like, but I have heard that like Triangle Strategy went way more in the like long cutscenes than like Tactics Ogre. Clearly, at the time it was made, you're not getting huge long cutscenes in a 16-bit Tactics RPG. Like, they're a bit more concise in their dialogue and how much people are saying to one another. So even the voice acting, like, things move along pretty quickly, which isn't bad. That's fine. So yeah, I've been having a great time with it, and it's great on the Switch. Runs at 60 FPS, no issues. Like,
so no hitching or I mean, I assume it wouldn't be, but
none at all.
That's where I'll play it then.
And the great thing about it is I can play it wherever I want to.
Hell yeah.
And that's the type of game I want to play wherever want to. Like,
I mean, they could just people could get so much money out of us for just remastering SNES era RPGs.
Yep.
Oh my God, give me Chrono Trigger, give me fucking Mana. I guess it did Mana. Whatever.
Give me that. I want Final
6.
Fantasy 6.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Ugh.
Chrono Trigger 6. I want Final Fantasy Tactics on the Switch still. Like, I feel like it has to be coming at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does this make you think it's coming? Because
probably. I mean, it was rumored so long ago in those Nvidia leaks, and everything has been coming true from those leaks. So I'm like, okay, fine. You remastered the game that was the like spiritual like prequel to Final Fantasy Tactics. So now just do Tactics. Just do War. And the thing is, Tactics doesn't require nearly as much work because they did War of the Lions already. Like, which already did a bunch of streamlining, and FFT was already somewhat streamlined from the game that I'm playing, Tactics Ogre, right now, by a lot. So I don't feel like there's a huge amount they need to do. Like, if they want to do a War of the Lions, like, remastered version that takes out the, like, that random grinding point and being like, no, that's not how you grind. You can just go to a zone and say, I just want to do a mission here and do it that way. That would be way easier. I'd be cool with that.
That's a nice quality of life improvement for not so much how things run, but like how our lives are now. Like I feel like we have less time than we did, back in the day.
Yeah,
we're doing more things.
Yeah,
there's more things to do, perhaps.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is a signal that they'll do that. I mean, Square is also putting out their first Front Mission remake in a couple weeks now. So I mean, they're digging through their back catalog and they're doing it.
Yes, it's interesting they're putting out. I mean, obviously they've done some of the pixel remasters on other platforms, but to think about some of the bigger things that they still haven't done yet, and it's like, why haven't you done? Are you practicing on these to make sure you get it all right before you do like the big ones?
It's probably. Yes, I feel like there's something about practice and like testing the market with while they can, but then also, is there people internal that are champions for those projects? Like, sure, you can have an executive come down and saying, we're remastering this. It works better if there are people on the ground wanting to make that remaster.
Yes, that's right.
You need that passion, and it helps. So is there just not people there right now that are like, this is what I really want to do next. I really want to do a Chrono Trigger remake now. Or is those people like, I don't want to touch it. Like, it's a masterpiece, and we might just screw it up. Let's just leave it be. Which is possible.
That is true. That is true. I mean, I could go play it on my 3DS and be like, this is great.
Yep.
I don't need anything else. It's really good.
Yeah. And I mean, there's the Pixel remaster for 6, although I really love 6 in HD 2D styling.
That's what I want too, man. Like, I feel like it's around the corner. I don't want to like try it until the new one's out, because I feel like there's going to be a new one, and if I play it now, I won't play the new one, kind of thing.
Yeah. So
time.
I don't know. I mean, it is still ringing true that years ago, the president of Square Enix, I can't remember his name at the time, was saying that like they're really going to focus on making their back catalog playable.
Yes.
On modern consoles, and they're doing it. They really are. Like, some are better than others, but they're trying really hard to make all these games available again. And then ideally, in a lot of the cases, they'll be available for a long time on this hardware. Right. Like, they're not just sitting in some dustbin of time that no one will ever be able to play except through emulation. So,
well, was it Miyamoto? I think it was Miyamoto who said this last week. Backwards compatibility is easier than ever before, which I hope means not so much like, oh, we can get GameCube on Switch, but like Switch games will play on the next console.
Hopefully
moving forward, because I feel like, I think we talked about it before about the 3DS, where like the 3DS has, it's almost like the perfect system if you like Nintendo, where you've got SNES games, you got NES games, you have amazing 3DS games, you have amazing games from the console before the 3DS, which was the
The
DS.
DS.
Yeah, the DS.
Yep.
All right there. And then like the
Yeah.
Switch, obviously with Switch Online gives you access to a whole bunch of shit, but even just Switch games without thinking about Switch Online, how many older games people have brought back to the Switch and all the good games
Hmm.
that are on Switch. It's a fucking awesome console. So the next generation to like leave all those games behind would just suck.
Yeah.
It would make
It
me want
would
to buy
really
a second
suck.
Switch.
Yeah. It makes me want to switch OLED. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Well, if they come up with a Switch Pro or whatever they're gonna do, OLED
no,
or
it's
whatever.
the new Nintendo Switch.
You're
be
right.
honest.
That's exactly what it's gonna be called. But if it had an OLED, like I would jump all over it. I've already upgraded my Switch once just because of battery life. Like I would do it again.
Yeah.
I fucking love the Switch, man. I was playing with my daughter today. We were playing Mario Kart home circuit again. And my games are sorted by time I play, and number 2 is Divinity Original Sin 2, and the rest of the top 12 are all games that I played with her.
Nice.
And I'm just like, wow, excuse me, we've played a lot of Switch games together. And yeah, she's just be growing into a gamer where she
Yeah.
is interested. She's getting way better. She's like, this is the third time we're playing Wind Waker, so I'll talk about what I'm playing a little bit. We're playing Wind Waker again, even though we just finished it 2 months ago. We're starting our third playthrough, and she's controlling Link half the time now. And it's my wife comes in and is watching. She's like, holy shit, she's playing? It's like, yep. Wow.
Yeah.
She like lined herself up on the bridge, got around an enemy, picked up a bomb, threw it across a chasm to blow up a fucking rock to open the door, and then jumped across the chasm and opened the door. And it's like all this complex shit, and she's just like doop 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 doop. But give her a 2D game, she's fucking not having it. So no.
I know. I was talking to a family friend. I was dropping my kids off at school. They were doing the same with theirs. And they were talking about like they're getting a Switch for Christmas for the family and a number of games.
Nice.
So they're talking to me about games and what they want. And clearly, I'm like, it's the other kid's mom. I was like, oh, you totally they had Segas as a kid because their family was anti-Nintendo for whatever reason.
Oh god.
She didn't know. It was just like, yeah, she played like all the Sega games. But we're just talking about games there. But it definitely like I was like, wow, like a lot of. She was talking about her young kids of like actually understanding how to play the game because she has quite a spread, and that was one of the things about like what games do I get that like are good for like a 12-year-old playing against like a 6-year-old that isn't super frustrating. Mario Kart was the one.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I was like, no, if you get a Switch, you need to get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, just get it. It's more content than you'll ever need.
Yep. Well, even like Yoshi's Crafted World is one of the top games that we played.
Yeah.
And it's great for like I love it, and she loves it, and we can love it together. Nintendo does a good job of making those kind of easier games interesting for older people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'm pretty. It's interesting to see someone just like gonna get one for the first time and be like, okay,
stepping into the Nintendo ecosystem for the first time.
Ecosystem. So that's been cool to see that and talk about that, and now seeing like their kids and like my kids are now like super comfortable with games. Like my son is getting way more comfortable with PC stuff. Like so he plays Minecraft on a laptop now.
Okay.
And is getting much better with WASD. Mouse control has gotten much better at it. He's playing this thing called like Skypixel High Block. It's like a mod, like a super mod for Minecraft, and we've tracked like it doesn't have voice chat, but it is like, what if you took Minecraft and it is in Minecraft, but made persistent large worlds where it's almost MMO. It's kind of like like super RPG MMO Minecraft, but I mean, it's still just a mod to Minecraft. And like everyone has you have your home island, your sky island, and then you leave through your portal and you go to like a central hub where there's all sorts of like quests and stuff you can do, and like a whole world has been built. It's weird. It's all in Minecraft too. I've had to have him sit down and just like show me and talk to me because I'm just like my mind's blown with what people. I'm just like, what is this? How is this Minecraft?
Oh my god, that's crazy.
And I'm like, can you spend money on anything? He's like, no. Like, you can spend. So that's my worry. I'm like, okay, is there like microtransactions they figured out how to do? He's like, no. You can become a supporter if you want, and you pay a one-time thing for anywhere from $20 to $60, and you get like a special title in game. But it's purely based on like the game's free, but to keep the servers running, we're asking people to give us money, like sure. Donate. Right. But man, it's crazy to watch him just like understand the systems in it.
Yeah.
As well, like being like, he's like, okay, if I go to this zone and I do this thing and I spend this much time, I can grind this currency there, go back, trade it to this NPC, get this weapon, go here. Do this, go do this dungeon. I'm like, what are you talking about? You sound like me when I was playing WoW.
Oh
no.
No. Too late.
He was wanting a PC. He's like, we've spec'd out a PC for him.
Oh,
so
shit.
He's saving his money for it. He wants to build one.
Oh my god. It's a you.
Kind of.
Oh man.
So I get to teach him how to build a computer. Because he wants to have one built by his birthday next year.
Oh, cool.
So, and he's already saved almost just over $300 for it. So, it's coming along.
Yeah.
I think we priced it out. We can because all he wants to play is Minecraft, and like he wants to play Subnautica as well.
Okay.
He's really interested in Subnauticas, both of them, but you don't need like super high powered PC to run those.
Right.
So, I think we priced it out. It's like going to be like $600 total.
Oh wow, that's
for a pretty nice machine. Like the key part is that he would get my GPU because I'll buy a new GPU for myself.
That's a nice excuse.
It is a great excuse, isn't it?
I'm giving my kid the old one.
The old one, so I can get a new one.
I can get a 4090 that's gonna light on fire.
Jesus. Do you want to watch my wife go from 0 to super pissed at me? How much did you spend on that GPU?
Depends on the definition of the word spend.
Close to our mortgage.
Yeah, dude, fucking seriously. Oh my god, when you put it in terms like that, holy shit.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Ooh. Yeah, not get one of those. My 3060 is doing me fine. I don't even fucking game on this. I make music on this thing.
Yeah. That's the key part. I have a 2060 Super, and it's done its job, but I would like something new now. But both NVIDIA and AMD are like, well, I mostly blame NVIDIA for putting out a $1,600 graphics card, which then makes AMD go like, huh,
we could do it too.
We can make it $1,000 graphics card and like lead with our super high end at $1,000, which is way cheaper than NVIDIA's, but still out of the price I want to spend on a GPU.
Yeah,
and I'm like, can we get down to the ones that I want to buy, please, and not have to wait like 6 months?
Are there any more 300 or 3000 series?
There's plenty of them. I just don't want one.
Oh, I see. You want the next generation.
I either I want an AMD 7000 series GPU or a 4000 NVIDIA. Okay. I don't know. I don't really care which one. The 4000 ones I'm less excited about now, how they're burning up and their power draw, and like they're less exciting in a number of ways. Yeah. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's being very kind.
But I do care about ray tracing, and they do ray tracing way better than AMD's cards do. But AMD's cards are usually much more reasonably priced, and if you don't care about ray tracing, are usually better than NVIDIA's cards. Like they will have higher performance of non-ray traced for a cheaper price. but NVIDIA has ray tracing. So, well, it's not that AMD doesn't have ray tracing. They're slower at it. So,
well, man, ray tracing, I mean, at least from what I've seen on the PS5, is pretty amazing. So
I know, and that's actual AMD ray tracing on there.
Oh, on the PS5?
Because the PS5 has AMD in it.
Oh, well, there you go.
PS5 and the Xbox Series X, they both have roughly the same AMD GPU.
Well, it looks good. Let me tell you, Ragnarok. I don't know what setting.
Yeah, you gotta tell me about Ragnarok now. It's
fucking Ragnarok is just fucking gorgeous, dude. It is unbelievable how it looks. All the color, like, it reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn when Horizon Forbidden West. When I turned it on, it was just like such a palette of colors that looked so sharp, and looked like just almost photorealistic out in the landscape, right? I'm in a location right now where there's just so many different colors popping off, like oranges and blues, and the way that Kratos and Atreus look, like the visuals are fucking stunning. I'm pretty sure I'm on performance mode as well, so I'm not even doing fidelity mode. And there's like a bunch of different options that you could do. Like you could do like 45 frames per second and have ray tracing or something like that.
Okay.
I haven't really fucked around with it yet. It is, it depends on what type of game you like, whether you think Elden Ring is Game of the Year or whether you think God of War is going to be Game of the Year. If you are into like just the rich story and the like action adventure kind of gameplay, like God of War is amazing. Like God of War has had, I put 4 hours into it so far. Aside from the visuals, just the story is so exquisitely well written so far. The characters that you met in God of War 2018, at least the ones that I've met so far, are just like even deeper. Like there's like a 2 or 3 year gap between 2018 and Ragnarok, and they don't try to info dump what happened the last 3 years. It just naturally comes up in conversation and the way people like interact and talk to each other and even not talk to each other, and body language or whatever. There's so much rich storytelling happening everywhere in this game, in the way that the backgrounds are drawn or designed, all the stuff you could see. It is fairly linear so far. Like it's really clear where you're meant to go, and you can't go places that you can't go. But almost everything so far has been a puzzle of some kind. It's either a traversal puzzle or like a chest puzzle, or just a puzzle figuring out how to advance in terms of like opening up the area to get to the next area. Everything is either like a huge puzzle or like a very micro puzzle, and it's just like constantly engaging. It is constantly just like so rich. It is like God of War 2018, like amped up. And I'm having such a good time with it because of those things. Everything is so, it's either visually stimulating, mentally stimulating, lore-wise stimulating. Like I picked up a whole bunch of items so far that have like, a glossary or whatever the fuck it's called, where I'm just reading through and really enjoying like I'm enjoying reading the poems. The poems are well written. Now I don't read poems in games. I think they're usually terrible. But I was just like, whoa, that was really well written. The first one I picked up. There's so many, like you kind of start with some of the abilities you had, and some of the weapons you had. And then you quickly gain a new ability with Atreus that is almost like a Metroidvania thing, where there were some areas that were blocked off and you got this new Atreus ability, and you're like, oh, the places that were glowing green, I go back and do this thing and open up new areas. And like it rewards exploration in the way that Breath of the Wild does. And it's not Breath of the Wild like at all, but it rewards exploration in that there's always something. It's either a little puzzle that's a real puzzle, or like a micro puzzle about how to get somewhere, or just a view, or a piece of story, or a collectible. It's like they took some lessons from Breath of the Wild and put it into a game that is nothing like Breath of the Wild.
Interesting.
It's so cool so far. It's so fucking cool so far. And I love that Mimir is with you from the beginning. So he's just constantly talking to you, and it's fucking always interesting. And I got to this part where one guy was just talking shit about Mimir, like, and they have the way they talk shit to each other was just like this rich backstory that like they didn't dive into. It was just hinted at, and I'm sure we'll get into it later. But I'm just like, I want to know more about those two fucking idiots. I'm just fuck, I love it, dude. I am so in love with this game so far, and it's the type of game that I like. Like I like Elden Ring a lot. I think that Elden Ring, in terms of like exploration and adventure, is just like can't be beat. But the story to go along with it, it's exactly my kind of game.
Yeah.
So I can see I could see the argument either way. Like I initially thought like there's no way anything could dethrone Elden Ring because Elden Ring's so monumental, but this is monumental too in a different genre. And if you like this genre more than the other genre, like this is your jam. This is your jam for the year. So I just I've been doing a lot of music after the elections, kind of processing and expressing myself, yada yada. But I've managed to put in several sessions with Ragnarok, and it's fucking great. It's fucking great. It's like a 40-hour game, or no, not 40-hour, 25 to 30, I think. So I'm hoping to get it done before Game of the Year talk, and I feel like I'll get there. I want to play it now. It's that good, and I cannot express enough how good it sounds. Oh, and the thing I didn't talk about, it's visuals, it's the puzzles, it's the story, but the music. It's Bear McCreary too.
Yeah.
And it's like not only is like each individual piece that I've heard so far like really rich, but it's so varied. Like you start out in the snowy area, and then the next area is like this really almost like Utah-esque area, and the difference in the style of the music in those two areas is so striking. It's cool. One criticism that I heard during a bunch of podcasts about the game is that the menus are kind of convoluted, and I agree. There's so much to the menus that's like they have, there's so much things you can do. You can upgrade so much different shit. Your runics, your weapons, your armor, yada yada, different resources for different things. That it is like, where do I go to do the thing I need to do? It's a little unwieldy. But otherwise, God, I hope you watch it at least.
I will. I've seen a few parts of it already. It wasn't any place that was doing story though. So
okay.
I just got to see. I was like, looks really compelling, looks really pretty. But I'll probably watch a playthrough from beginning. Here soon. I heard it's a long game though. Longer than the first.
Yeah, because the first one was like 12 to 15 hours, and people were saying this is like 24 to 30.
Yeah.
So.
Or longer. Some people I think have already put in more than that if they're trying to be completionist.
Oh, okay. So yeah. The side content is apparently amazing. I've already found a couple of side quests. I'm like, I'm interested to do that for the story. I don't know what the reward is, but I want to explore that.
I haven't had any spoilers, but I was actually hearing some people talk about it earlier today on a podcast. And they didn't spoil it. They're just like, yeah, they had heard that like the side quest rivaled like Witcher 3 in how powerful they were and meaningful they are. And they're like, nah, no way. And then they're like, yes, very much so. They did a couple, and they're like, these are incredible. And they didn't give any spoilers. They didn't tell what it was. They're just like, it increased your knowledge of side characters. It increases your knowledge of the world. It fundamentally changes the world and the way you see things. So sounds like the side quests are really good, and very character focused. So
yeah, and that's what comes across immediately with like, some characters you knew from 2018 that were almost like logistical characters. You needed them.
Yeah.
You needed the dwarven blacksmiths to do the thing. They're not logistical this time, and it's just like from the jump, and it's just like, wow, there's a lot of depth here to the shop character. Man, it's good stuff. It's really good.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward
that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's probably not one you're gonna play. But
definitely not right now. I will say that. God. And eventually, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder when Witcher 3 is gonna come out. It's supposed to come out at the end of this year. The remaster.
Don't
Not
have that
remaster,
much.
whatever.
Don't have that much longer.
I know,
So
not much runway, folks. Like end of the year, or it's got to come out around Witcher next month with the Netflix stuff, probably. It's like it's
yeah, actually, that's true. That's true.
an
There's
uptick,
that. Yeah, that's when is
I thought it was
Blood-
I thought it was Christmas, 25th of December.
Witcher Blood Origin? I think you're right. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somewhere around.
I mean, I
around
guess
then.
we're losing Cavill, but we're getting Michelle Yeoh.
Well, and this one wasn't even gonna have Cavill at all, you know.
No.
So
I'm just like, maybe just do sequels to this series.
yes, exactly. Right.
Let's just.
I like that. Yep.
We can end the mainline Witcher TV show at 3 when Cavill leaves, and we can just continue stories with Michelle Yeoh being a badass elf.
I support this.
I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
Breaks my heart a little bit about Cavill
Does.
because he just wanted that character so bad. Something must have happened besides Superman, but maybe it was just Superman.
Listening to him, it actually sounds like yes to a point, but I mean, he's done some interviews like clearly he knew he wasn't coming back. One, he probably knew he wasn't coming back for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like just a sudden thing. They're probably in negotiations for a long time. But there's also a thing where like he gave some interviews. He was talking about Enola Holmes too, because he's a major person in that.
Yep.
And he actually talked about how difficult it was for him to get away to do it because of Witcher filming.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then he was stating, it's like anything in my career, like times I'm just like, when it's wrong, you know it's wrong, and you need to leave. You need to move on. So while I think he's very much like loves the role and the character and everything, it doesn't sound like he's a person who's just gonna stick around because he loves it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's feeling right, if that's blocking other things that he wants to do, or he's like, nah, I'm just not happy with where. And actually, his talking is less about where the show is different, but how Geralt is different.
Yeah.
He wants Geralt to be much more like Geralt in the books. As he said, he wants Geralt to be a philosopher.
Yeah.
And talk more. And the show's like, no, don't talk.
Me too. Yes, I do too.
But either way, that's a different thing. It's just like clearly at some point it just was like, this is too much of a pain. I'd much rather be doing these other things. This isn't worth enough to me to stop me from pursuing these other things that I have coming up. And as he talked about that, it was hard to get away for certain filming, and it was like, I guess spoilers for Black Adam, like there's a in credits scene where he's back as Superman.
Yeah.
He said filming that was a pain in the ass. Like he had to get permission from the Witcher production company to leave for a few days.
Oh, that's stupid.
But it's in the middle of filming. They're contractually obligated to stay there.
Yeah.
And do their filming.
Yeah.
It's not like if that's the whole thing with scheduling conflicts in Hollywood and contracts, and like he's like, I'm here for this amount of time to do filming as needed for this show. So it isn't just a like, well, I want to go do this thing. I'm being offered this thing. I'm going to go do it. It gets involved with legalese, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you're allowed to leave and go do this. It's the same thing with the original Justice League with him. Because what was he? He was filming something else at the time. That's why they had to like CGI out his mustache.
Oh.
Because he was contractually obligated. He had to have that facial hair for what he was filming at the time. Thing he was filming. I don't remember what movie it was. It might have been Mission Impossible at that point. And so it's like, yeah, I can come and film, but I can't shave. Like, I have to leave this mustache on.
That must have been so weird to see Superman with a mustache.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of the annoying thing, I guess, clearly for actors in this position of being like, well, I really want to do this thing, but I'm contractually obligated to do this other thing.
Yeah.
And so I think at some point that starts rubbing up against him. He's probably getting a bunch of offers to do a lot of things, and it doesn't sound like The Witcher's filming schedule is short.
No, it sounds really long.
I think it's like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So it makes it rough to film other things at the same time. So I think it's probably all of those things together combined to being like, I'm not going to come back for this.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually hurting my career to come back for this.
Right.
As opposed to, look at all these opportunities now I get to do because I'm not filming in, I don't even know where it films. Eastern Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
So, that's my long way of saying sad to see him go, but I can kind of understand now that hearing it, like some interviews around other stuff he's doing and being like, oh, this was just kind of a pain in your ass, really, as your star started rising.
Well, good for him. I'm sad, but it doesn't mean we're not going to get more Witcher, and the more Witcher we get could be good. And you're right. If Blood Origin's really good, keep going with that. There's so much Witcher shit. Just keep spinning it off. Give me a series show. Like, give me a series game. Keep it up.
Yeah, that's true. One of those Witcher games that they have unannounced has to be Siri, right?
Dude, think? If they don't have that in the works, they're stupid. Like, come on. That is just seems like a no-brainer.
I would agree.
I would love to see that. All right. Well, this was episode 360, Prof and Dev Play Games. Please rate us on your podcast service of choice. And next week, we'll probably talk about that Nintendo Indie Showcase we didn't talk about today because it was meh.
It kind of was. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, there's some cool looking stuff in there, but it was actually a number of things we've already heard about before.
Yeah.
As well. Like, right. That was the thing about it, was like, oh, I've heard about most of these.
Yep.
So
that's what makes it meh. Is like, okay, there's no like big splash, you know.
No. Clearly there's nothing. Nintendo's like, yeah, this is what we got for the holiday. We're done. Yep. We're out.
There's no Wind Waker.
No, come on.
I know.
Let's do it.
Oh my god. Every podcast I'll mention it until it happens.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Folks. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right. Later, everyone.